So the topic that we have to discuss in today's class is a thing that is related to the previous topic. That is whatever that has been taught in your yesterday's class. There is a continuity of that in your today's class too. So, what was the kindly let me know what was the topic that was discussed in your previous class? Just a recollection of what was being taught in your previous class. So you people learnt about the most important concept or a concept called as inheritance of object-oriented programming. So inheritance is one of the most important concept under object-oriented programming. And can anyone say what is the major purpose of this concept called as inheritance? What is the major purpose, or we can say it as the benefit that we get out of this concept called as inheritance? Reusability. Okay, so reusability of your code. Thank you, Arulmori. So reusability of your code, okay, is the major advantage of inheritance. Okay, so when I say reusability of code, I can put it in another word that if you define a class, okay, a class is going to be a single unit which encapsulates a set of attributes and the behaviors that can exhibit over that attributes. This is how you define a specific class. Okay, so now you have another class. The another class also has some sort of attributes, as well as another class also some sort of has some sort of attributes, as well as behaviors that is related to the class which is existing already. Okay, so rather than defining those attributes and behaviors again and again within this class, it's enough if I inherit those properties or those properties and methods from the previously existing class. This is the actual underlying concept that has been happening across your inheritance. What we actually do is we inherit. How you and me inherit the genetic properties from our parents or from my grandparents, in the same way, from there only this concept has been picked up. Okay, we inherit the genetic properties from our parents, or from ancestors, or from our grandparents. In the same way, if there is a necessity of the same attributes and behaviors to take place in your own new class, so rather than defining those attributes and behaviors within your new class, you can inherit them from the existing class. Okay, so this is the concept of inheritance. So the same stuff in yesterday's class, Priya ma'am would have taught you about all stuff related to inheritance. So what is the topic that we are going to discuss in today's classes? I'll move on with the presentation. It's just a continuity of this concept of inheritance. So if you people are strong with the syntax, that you have a clear idea of syntax of all the stuffs that you have learned in your previous class, it will be easy for the continuation of today's class. Okay, okay, move on with the presentation. So the topic that we're going to discuss in today's class is called as polymorphism, or we also term it as overriding. Okay, so we will be discussing in detail about this concept called as polymorphism in today's class. And along with that, we will also have a discussion related to a special type of class termed as abstract class. So these are the two topics that we are going to discuss in today's class. One is called as polymorphism, and another one is called as abstract class. So I'll move on with the discussion of polymorphism. So to start with, okay, so first we have to understand what this concept called as polymorphism means. So we people all know that what is inheritance. If there is a the parent class, from the parent class you can inherit the attributes and the behaviors to a child class. So parent class will be generally termed as your base class. Okay, and your child class can be termed as your derived class. So base class, derived class. So keep this stuffs in your mind: parent class, child class, base class, and derived class. Okay, so now put a question over here. Okay, so I have a question over here. For example, in your parent class, you have a behavior, that is a method called as display. Okay, your parent class is having a method called as display. Okay, So this parent class is being inherited, okay, is being inherited by a child class. So I hope whatever I'm saying is understandable. Let me put it in this way, I'll show you. So what I'm saying, I have a parent class, okay. So from this parent class, I have inherited a child class. So let me tell that I've inherited two child class 1 and child class 2. Okay. So now this parent class is having a method called as display. This parent class is having a method called as display. Okay. So now this display, okay, if this child class is inheriting this parent class, so this method called as display will be inherited by this child class. Hope I'm correct. Hope you people are following what I'm saying. Okay. In the same way, if this child class 2 is also inheriting this parent class, then this method called as display will be inherited by this child class 2. Okay. So both these child class 1 as well as child class 2 will inherit this display method from the parent class. Okay. Clear? So I hope whatever I'm saying is understandable. Okay. So now let me show you another stuff over here. So let me put a specific name for this class. Let me take it as vehicles. Okay, let me have this class name to be vehicle. Okay, clear. So display underscore wheels. Clear. If this is my, I'm just having a, I'm just making a small change. Okay, I just simply, I generally set that as parent class. Now I am giving a name to it called as vehicle class. Okay, and I have made a slight modification to this behavior. That is your method called as display. The name is being changed to display underscore wheels. Now let me consider this vehicle class is being inherited by another class called as auto class. Okay, auto, you people all know about the vehicle called as auto, so I mentioned it as auto class. And I am also having another class called as another child class called as car class. So both auto and car fits into this parent class called as vehicles. Okay, so now if I want to display wheels, okay, if I want to display wheels, this display wheels will be inherited by both my car class as well as auto class. Okay. So now I have a question. So when I want to display the number of wheels of auto and the number of wheels of car, will they be same? No, they won't be same. Okay. So this vehicle class is a generic class. Okay. So inside this display wheels, I have a print statement, something like this. Print number of wheels. I'm just giving you examples why we need this polymorphism. To make you understand why we need this polymorphism, I'm going to speak about that. So display underscore wheels, print number of wheels equal to 2. I'm just putting something like this. Okay, so this print statement, okay, will it fit for the display wheels of auto? Will this print statement, okay, number of wheels is equal to 2? No, it won't fit for auto class. And similarly, when I consider the vehicle called as car, it also doesn't fit for this class called as car. Okay, when I try to display the number of wheels of car, I have to display it as 4. For auto, I have to display it as 3. So obviously, the number of wheels that is being mentioned in your generic class is not fitting into both the classes. But I want to retain the same method name. Okay, so now here also I want this to be display wheels. Here also I want the method name to be display wheels, but the print statement in your generic class is being given as number of wheels is equal to 2. So now how can I overcome this? Okay, now the question is, how can I overcome this? Okay, so that is going to be done with the help of this concept called as polymorphism. What is polymorphism is, your derived class, that is your child class, can have a method, okay, with the same name of a method which is present in a parent class. Hope you people are following me. Hope I am clear. Okay. I can have a method inside this child class 1, okay, called as display underscore wheels. Okay. And I can have the content to be print number of wheels is equal to 3. And similarly, in the same way, I can have a method display underscore wheels within this class called as car class, and number of wheels is equal to 4. Okay, so hope I am clear till now. So the first thing what I have told, my method name in the parent class is called as display underscore wheels. So a child class can also have, okay, can also have a method with the same name. Clear? Hope I am understandable. A child class can also have a method with the same name which is present in your parent class. So display underscore wheels is a method which has been defined in your parent class. Now child class 1 is also having a method with the same class, with the same name, and child class 2 is also having a method with the same name. So is this possible? Will it rise an error over here? No, this is possible, and this concept is called as polymorphism. So why we got into polymorphism? Sometimes, okay, the methods or the behaviors that we have defined in our generic class will not, cannot be applied to a specific class. So here if you take vehicle is a generic class, so your auto class and car class has inherited the properties and methods of this vehicle class, okay, but there will be a necessity for certain methods to be overridden by your by your child class. Hope I am clear. Okay, so you have a parent class, you had two child class. Your parent class is called as vehicle class, you have auto class, you have car class. Now auto class as well as car class will inherit the attributes and methods of your vehicle class. Okay, but there can be a necessity or there can be a situation where, okay, the generic class methods, okay, will not perfectly define your child class. Your generic class methods will not perfectly define your child class. So I showed you an example. So I have a method called as display underscore wheels. So this method is not correctly specifying my child class called as auto, and similarly my car class called as my other class called as car class. Okay, so now if that becomes a situation, how I can overcome it? So okay, how I can overcome it? So how I can overcome it? By writing the same method inside the child class. Okay, by writing the same method inside my child class. So if I do so, this process is called as overriding. So how do I say this as overriding? Is if I create, for example, I'm creating an object. Okay, now I have not completely follow in the syntax over here. Okay, I'm just making you to understand I have done all this stuff. For example, I'm creating a child object for your auto class. Okay, for your auto class, I'm creating a object. Similarly, for car class, I'm creating an object. So now if I say a dot display underscore wheels, so which method will get invoked? So based on our discussion, okay, based on our discussion, try to give me an answer. If I put a dot display underscore wheels, which method will get invoked? If you have understood whatever I have taught till now, you will give me the answer. Which method will be invoked? Child class method or your parent class method? Auto method, that is your child class method, will be invoked. So this is called as overriding. Okay, when we override something, எதையோ ஒன்று அடிச்சிட்டு நம்ம மேல ஒன்று எழுதுறோம்ல, we call it as override. The same sense is applied over here. Overriding. riding. I am overriding my parent method with respect to my child method. Okay. In child method vachi en parent method na override பண்ணிட்டேன். So this is this is the concept called as polymorphism. So you people have to understand why we need polymorphism. So why we need polymorphism? The answer is very simple. Not all the attributes and behaviors, okay, attributes and behaviors of your parent class has been inherited by your child class. Okay, there will be a necessity for your parent class method to be more generic for your child class. So in such a case, you can have a specific method to your child class. உன் child classல அதே மெத்தட ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா அவங்களுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி நீங்க டிஃபைன் பண்ணிக்கலாம். இப்போ இங்க நம்பர் ஆஃப் வீல்ஸ் வரும்போது auto number of wheels is different from car number of wheels. So obviously I need a specific method to define it. So this process is called as, ஆனா அதே நேம் தான் வேணும். ஏன்னா அதே நேம் தான் அந்த மீனிங்கை கொடுக்கும். Display underscore wheels is a method which actually tells you the number of wheels in that particular vehicle. Okay, so in generic, for all vehicle class it has been assigned to two. Okay, so when we take two wheelers into consideration, it's fine. Two wheelers or bicycle, we take it into consideration, it's fine. But when we move on with vehicles like auto, car and bus, things have to change. Okay, so you have to redefine that same method within your specific class. And when you invoke that object, that method with the specific class object, then their method alone will be called, not the parent method. Okay, so auto இந்த கிளாஸ்க்கு நான் ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணேன், a is equal to auto off. ஸோ இந்த a என்ற ஆப்ஜெக்டை வச்சு நான் டிஸ்பிளே அண்டர் ஸ்கோர் வீல்ஸ் கால் பண்ணா எந்த டிஸ்பிளே அண்டர் ஸ்கோர் வீல்ஸ் இன்வோக் ஆகும்? ஆட்டோ கிளாஸோடைய டிஸ்பிளே அண்டர் ஸ்கோர் வீல்ஸ் தான் இன்வோக் ஆகும், அதோடைய பேரண்ட் கிளாஸ் கிடையாது. ஸோ திஸ் கான்செப்ட் இஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் polymorphism. Okay, so same name, that of the parent. Okay, the child class method name and the parent class method name will be same. Okay, so this process, for what purpose we are doing, you understood. And method overriding actually means when I create an object for my child class, and when I invoke such a method, then the child class method will only be invoked, not the parent class method. Okay, so I will try to show it with a very simple example. We will make it as a new example over here because I have a continuity over this. So let me define a class called as phone. Okay, I'm defining a class called as phone over here. So this class has a init method. What is the purpose of init method? Init method is known as what? Can you answer? Init method is known as what? Init method constructor. Okay, so I want to create a class for this phone entity. Okay, so for phone entity, I'm defining three attributes: price, a brand, and camera. Okay, the pixel size of your camera. So I've defined three attributes. Okay, so price is equal to price, then self dot brand is equal to brand, and self dot camera is equal to camera. Okay, so this is my init method, and let me have another method. Okay, this is a very simple method. So this method will just print what you're going to buy. So I'm going to buy, in this case, since my class is a phone, I will be buying a phone. A phone, just a very simple display method. So now I have another class. So phone is my parent class. Let me define another class called as smartphone, a little bit specific of phone called as smartphone. Okay, so smartphone inherits phone. Smartphone is inheriting phone. And let me have this to understand polymorphism. I'm just redefining the method called as buy. Okay, buy alone, and I'm putting print buying a smartphone. So what I'm doing actually over here, I'm overriding this method called as by. So by is a method which is defined in your parent class called as phone. Now this phone class is being inherited by smartphone. So inside smartphone, I am performing method overriding. So when I say I'm performing method overriding, how do I identify method overriding has taken place? The function name, okay, will be same. So here also the function name is same, by same set of arguments is being passed, only the object is being passed, self. So completely this method in the parent class has been overridden by this method in the child class. Okay, so now what we will do is we have only one method. So now we will create an object for, we will try to create an object for this child class. Okay, and we will try to s is equal to smart phone off. Okay, so I have to pass price I'll put as 10,000 comma, I'll put Samsung is the brand, and I will put a camera pixel as 13 pixel. I'm just putting. Okay, so now I have created an object. Okay, so I've created an object over here. Fine, so now I will invoke this method called as by, s dot by. Okay, so now I will save this. Already I have. Okay, so now we will run this. So what we have done over here, we have implemented the concept called as polymorphism. I have declared a parent class. Parent class contains a constructor. Along with the constructor, it also has a method called as by. Now I have inherited this phone class within another class called a smartphone. So smartphone is your child class. So inside your child class, you have done method overriding. So when I say method overriding, the same method name that you gave inside your phone class is repeated in your child class also, that is in your smartphone also. So now you have created an object and you have invoked that by method using your object called as yes. So now if I execute this, one sec, what mistake I did. I didn't put this double quotes. Yeah, control is function fi smartphone. I made any mistake. Smartphone p is small, I gave caps. Okay, control is function fi self. I have given somewhere wrongly a self. I see I left one L here. Okay, control is function fi. So buying a smartphone. So control L. I'll run it again. Okay, so I think my mistakes were very simple mistakes. Capital and small mistakes were there. Capital letter, small letter. So buying a smartphone. So what happened over here? S dot by, this particular part s dot by, okay, is invoking which method? The child class method. Okay, it didn't invoke the parent class method, it invoked the child class method. Okay, this is the concept called as polymorphism. Okay, so whenever your child class is having some specific understandability which is apart from your parent class, okay, you need to implement that specific qualities, okay, within the same method. So how I can do it? Using the concept called as polymorphism. So whenever I write the same method name of my parent class into my child class, always my child class method will be invoked. So why child class method is getting invoked? Because the Python interpreter thinks that the method which is placed within the child class, which has the same name that of the parent class, has some specific qualities related to that child. So I need to invoke the child class method only, not the parent class method. Okay, so now you can have a question. So is there any way to invoke my parent class method? So what is the way that I can apply to work out things with respect to my parent class? So this is this can be a question over here. When I put s dot by, directly what happened, your child class method was being invoked. Now if there is a necessity for you to print the parent class method, if you want to do stuffs related to that parent class method which is being overridden within your child class, if that becomes the case within your application, how I can do it? You need answers for that. Okay, so for that purpose we get into a method called as super method. Okay, so there is a method called as super method in Python. So this is an example. Whatever that we have discussed, this is the example over here. Okay. So next, as I said, if I want to invoke the parent class method, the method which has been overridden by your child class. So how I can do it is with the help of this method called as super method. Okay. So if you want to invoke, okay, if you want to invoke a constructor or a method of a parent class you from a child class, you can do it with the help of this function called super function. So super function will help you to invoke the constructors and the methods, okay, of a parent class from the child class. So that is what we are going to discuss next. So now in the same program what we will do is, as I told, super is a function. So super is a function, okay, which is going to help you to invoke the behaviors and constructors of your parent class from your child class. Okay, so now here let me show it how super will be used. Super oda points நீங்க correct remember பண்ணிக்கணும். I'll just make a note of it in your notepad. So super method, okay. So this method, for what purpose we use, it will help you to invoke parent class. Okay, parent class oda edella methods and constructors. So other than this, parent class also has attributes. Attributes are super class வச்சு access பண்ண முடியாது. Methods யும் constructors யும், sorry, super method வச்சு parent class oda methods யும் constructors யும் we can invoke, okay, but not, we cannot work out with attributes. So constructors, okay, methods and constructors can be invoked. Second point that you have to do is consider, understand is attributes will not be handled by super method. Okay, so attributes na நம்ம கேஸ்ல என்ன, இப்போ இந்த ப்ரோக்ராம்ல எதை attributes ன்னு சொல்வீங்க? Can you tell me what are all the attributes that are present in this particular program? I want answers. Price is an attribute, brand is an attribute, and camera is an attribute. So all these are attributes of this particular. So if you take this class phone, okay, it's the parent class, it has a method called as by, it has a constructor defined inside it, and it has three attributes associated with it: price, brand, and camera. Okay, so if a super function is being used within your child class, my super function will be able to invoke the method called as by, the constructor, but never, it cannot access, it cannot be used to access your price, brand, and camera. Okay, it's separate price, brand, and camera தனிப்பட்ட முறையில் access பண்ண முடியாது. That point you have to understand, will not be handled by super method. And third point is super method, which you have to remember, super method can be used only within the child class. Okay, so outside your child class you cannot use this super method. This is very very important. When I say within your child class, understand, in this case this is the part that belongs to your child class. This is the part that belongs to your child class. So within this I can use super. So within my methods, within my constructors, I can use my super. Okay, but I cannot use it outside. If I try to use it over here, it will throw me an error. Okay, if I try to use it over here, for example, so now I want to use, I hope you understood the third point. Third point is what? Super method can used only within the child class. So outside it is not permitted and it won't work outside. So these are the three important aspects that you have to remember with respect to super method. So we will directly get into how it has been used. So the usage of super method is to help you invoke the methods and constructors which are present in your parent method, okay, from your child. So now if I want to invoke my by method of my super, what I can do is, by method of my parent, what I can do is I can use my super method. Okay, super dot by of. So now what happens over here when this method is being seen within your by method? So in the smartphone is a child class. Inside smartphone you have a method called as by. Okay, so now when I see a statement called as super dot by within this by, what my Python interpreter will do is, for this smartphone, it will go check what is the parent method. So phone is the parent method. So now it will move on to phone, and within phone, it will go check whether there is a by method. So if by method is there, that method will be executed first. Okay, is it clear? I hope you can understand how the control is getting transferred over here. When I get into this method, when I see the super call over here, what happens? I need to find out who is the parent of smartphone. Phone is the parent of smartphone, so my control goes to phone. So now inside phone, I'll go check whether there is a by method, and this method get executed. Okay, and what will get printed? Buying a phone will be printed. Okay, so if I execute this, what will be my output? Buying a phone is getting executed first, and buying a smartphone after I return. Okay, after this gets executed, I'll return back. After I return back, this print statement will get executed. So buying a smartphone. So the first usage of super is completed over here. So what is the first usage of super over here? Using your super method, I have invoked a parent class method. Okay, a method which has been overridden in your child class. So that method is being invoked using your super method from your child class. So first purpose is fine. So second, what I told is your super function can be utilized. Okay, utilized to invoke constructors of your parent. Okay, so why we need it? So let me consider that. We will take the same example itself. So here in your example, you have a class called as phone. So this class phone has three attributes called as price, brand, and camera. Okay, now what we did is we inherited another class called as smartphone, which has inherited this phone. Okay, smartphone has inherited phone. So now inside this smartphone, I want to define a constructor. Okay, so now the case is, whenever I you have to understand this point, it's very important. Whenever I define a constructor within my child class, okay, what actually happens is my parent class constructors and attributes will not be inherited from to my child class. I hope it's understandable. So whenever, I'm repeating it again, whenever I define a constructor within my child class. Okay. So now what I'm doing over here, smartphone is my child class. I'm defining a constructor within my child class. So this actually means I am trying to add, what I'm going to do, I'm trying to add extra attributes into my child class. Okay, so ஏற்கனவே என்கிட்ட 3 attribute இருந்தது, price, brand and camera என் parent classல. இப்போ என்னுடைய child class வழியா நான் இன்னும் 2 attribute எக்ஸ்ட்ரா ஆட் பண்ண நினைக்கிறேன். For example, OS and RAM. If this is going to be the case, what actually happens is, whenever you introduce a constructor within your child class, okay, the parent class constructor and the attributes will not get inherited. So to understand it, let me show it with an example over here. So self dot os is equal to os, and self dot ram is equal to ram. Okay, so I have added a constructor over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to invoke this Android, comma, RAM is, let me put it as 2 GB. Okay, so now if I execute this, what I've done over here, understand, I have introduced a constructor within my child class, and I have added two extra attributes OS and RAM over here. Okay, so now extra two attributes are being added. According to me, I have considered that through this constructor, I have increased the number of attributes from 3 to 5. Price, brand, and camera was the original attributes. Now I have added OS and RAM. This is what I think and I do. Okay, so when I execute this program, now no change in it. So buying a phone, buying a smartphone. So I have just invoked. Okay, so now if I try to print s dot an attribute value, so what I'm going to do over here is I'm trying to print an attribute value. So let me print uh, print yes dot os. Okay. So if I execute this, what happened? Yes, s dot os is what? Android. Android was the OS I gave. So Android got displayed over here. Okay. So now I'm trying to print yes dot brand. So brand is an attribute which is defined inside your parent class. So now I have to check what happens over here. So what happened? An attribute error has been thrown over here. Okay. So I thought by introducing a constructor into my child class, I have extended the count of my attributes. That is from 3 to 5. But what actually happened over here by introducing a constructor within my child class? I have lost my connectivity with my parent class. What happened? Lost my connectivity in what sense? I have lost my connectivity from the sense of constructors and attributes. Okay. So whenever I introduce what இங்க என்ன error throw பண்ணிருக்குன்னு பார்த்தா தெரியும். Smartphone object has no attribute brand. அப்ப என்ன அர்த்தம்? Brand என்ற attribute நீங்க எங்க define பண்ணீங்க? Parent classல. Child class object வச்சு நான் access பண்ண try பண்றேன். Yesன்றது என்னது? Child class உடைய object. Okay. So child class object வச்சு நான் brand access பண்ண try பண்ணும்போது it's throwing me an error that no such attribute. So this actually means that brand is not inherited by smartphone. So why this happened? Previous நான் இதை ட்ரை பண்ணியிருந்தேன்னு நினைச்சுக்கோ. இந்த கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்டர் இல்லாம நான் ட்ரை பண்ணியிருந்தேன்னா கண்டிப்பா it would have showed me what is brand. Okay, because you didn't have a specific constructor for your child class. But when you introduce a specific constructor for your child class, what happens? You are losing the inheritance of your constructors and attributes. So now to regain it, what I have to do? Okay, இது அப்படியே விட முடியாது. I have to regain it. I need my inherited properties from my parent. I want those properties and constructors. Okay, I want that constructor and attributes from my parent class into my child class. Since I'm introducing new specific attributes into my child class, how can I lose the connectivity from my parent class? So I need a way to resolve from this particular problem. So the only way is using your very simple way, using your super method. Okay, so we can use super method to resolve it. So how we are going to do it is what we are going to see next. So what I can do over here is I will just redefine my constructor first. So how I'm going to redefine my constructor? My child class constructor. My child class constructor will get values of all the attributes. OS, comma, RAM. I'll get the value for price, brand, as well as camera. Okay, got all these values. I've got 5 values. So now what I have to do over here? இப்போ இங்க இதை சேஞ்ச் பண்ணியிருக்கேன்னா நான் எதை இங்க சேஞ்ச் பண்ணணும்? ஆப்ஜெக்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணும்போது நான் 5 வேல்யூ பாஸ் பண்ணணும். Price is 10,000. Okay, and brand is Samsung and 15 pixel. Okay, so I'm creating an object by passing 5 attribute values. What are they? The OS name, how much RAM, price, phone, and the pixel of your camera. So 5 values I have passed. So this method is being called, what will actually happen when this method is being, sorry, when this line gets executed, control எங்க போகும்? இந்த child class உடைய init method க்கு போகும். So child class உடைய init methodல ஆண்ட்ராய்டுன்ற வேல்யூ ஓஎஸ்க்கு அசைன் ஆகும். 2 GB ரேம்க்கு அசைன் ஆகும். ப்ரைஸ் 10,000. பிராண்ட் வந்து சாம்சங் அசைன் ஆகும். கேமராக்கு 13 பிக்சல்ன்ற வேல்யூ அசைன் ஆகும். ஓகே. ஸோ ஆஃப்டர் திஸ் வாட் வில் ஆக்சுவலி ஹேப்பன் இஸ் using my super method, I have to invoke my init method of my parent class. So parent class உடைய init method க்கு என்னெல்லாம் பாஸ் பண்ணணும்? Price, okay, brand and camera. So what happens over here? So using this super, okay, I'm passing the value of price, brand and camera that I've got, and I'm invoking this method. Okay, so by which I'm establishing a connectivity between my parent constructor and my child constructor, so that my parent constructor is getting into a part of my child constructor. So now if I execute this, okay, now if I execute this, what happened over here? Buying a phone, buying a smartphone, Android and Samsung. So no errors. The brand value has got stored into the object. Okay, so இப்போ இங்க என்ன ஆயிருக்கும்னா எஸ்ன்ற இந்த ஆப்ஜெக்ட்டுக்கு 5 attribute கிரியேட் ஆயிருக்கும். Okay, so I hope for this object called as yes, all the 5 attribute values will be present. Okay, what are all those 5 attributes we have? We have price, brand, camera, OS and RAM. Okay, 5 attribute may create associate item. Okay, is it clear? So using your super method, you can also invoke the constructor of a parent class. That is the understandability. So why we are getting into this process? Be clear. When I try to introduce a constructor into my child class, okay, the connectivity with respect to constructors and attributes to my parent is being lost. So to re-establish that connectivity, my super method is being used over here. So using my super method, I will invoke my constructor through which I pass values to my attributes. Okay, so that those attributes are also getting associated with the object of my child class. I hope I'm clear with the concept of polymorphism and the super method. Yes or no? If you say yes, I'll move on with the teaching of the other part, which is called as abstract class. Yes, fine. So polymorphism is understandable. So we'll move on with the next concept that we have to discuss in today's class. So the next concept that we have to discuss in today's class, all these stuff is what we have discussed. Okay, so now I'll move on with abstract class. Okay, so what is meant by an abstract class? So abstract, the term abstract is very much understandable to you. It's whatever meaning that gives in is given in English, the same meaning fits over here. Abstract. Okay, so abstract doesn't have implementations. It has the concept present over here, but the implementation details will be missing whenever we use the term called as abstract. Okay, how it is happening, that part will be missing, but this is what can happen, can be defined inside, can be said through something called as abstract. You give a gist of the entire concept, but you will not show the implementation of the concept. That is called as abstract. Okay, so that same meaning is being taken is being taken into account, and it's been defined as a class called as abstract class. So abstract class, I'll show you with a very simple example. So when you people are working on with and online platforms like Flipkart, uh, Amazon, something like this, when you work with these kind of online applications, okay, so you come across the most important term called as product. I hope product is the most important term that you come across whenever you visit any kind of online applications like Flipkart or Amazon. Okay, but this term called as product, when I take Amazon for example, it can be related with products like this: mobile, fashion, furnitures, kitchen appliances. Okay, laptops, I can put it as electronics. So something like this. Product is a very generic term. okay, to which you associate all these kinds of terms called as mobile, fashion, furniture, kitchen appliances, and electronics. Okay, so this is too generic. Okay, so we don't have uh, things that can be defined very precisely to this concept called as product. Yes or no? Is my question clear? Can I define what is the price of, can I define something called as price for this product? Can I define something called as brand for this product? No. Product is a very, very generic term, okay, but it defines a group of components. It can define a group of materials or components or things. It can define a group of things. It can be a mobile can be termed as a product. Fashion wearables can be termed as a product. Furniture can be termed as a product. Kitchen appliances can be termed as a product. Electronic goods can be termed as a product. Okay, so this term product is very generic, since you cannot associate any specific values to this product, but they, on the whole, they define the entire group that is being listed below it. On the whole, it can group, and it can use the word, you can we can use the word product over there, and I can tell that to be a mobile, I can say that to be a fashion, I can say that to be a furniture. Okay, but this single word product doesn't have a meaning, but it can be used to refer any of this specific one. Okay, so this is the concept. This is where abstract comes into mean. Abstract actually, inside your abstract, okay, inside your abstract class, you can declare, you can declare your methods. Okay, you can declare your methods, but you won't define. Okay, you can declare methods, but you won't define it. So when I say declare and define, what's the difference? Can anyone say? Putting a question forth to you. Can anyone say, when I say declare a method or define a method, what's the difference? You people have, since you people know about C language, you can clearly state the difference. When I say declare, it actually means you are saying this is the function name. This kind of inputs will be taken by your function, and this kind of this type of output will be given by my function. So the signature of your function can be generally termed as the declaration part. So when I say definition, what my function is actually going to do, the set of instructions that you put into your function is called as definition. So that is called as implementation. Okay, that is called as implementation. Okay, so implementation makes up the function definition. Okay, implementation makes up the function definition. Declaration actually means the function name. This is the function name. These are the inputs that have been taken by your function, and this is what it is going to return. In the விஷயங்கள் மட்டும்தான் declaration. Okay, so inside an abstract class, you will generally contain abstract methods. So what are abstract methods? Those methods, declaration will be there, but definition will not be there. Okay, so definition வந்து மொபைல், ஃபேஷன், ஃபர்னிச்சர், கிச்சன் அப்ளையன்சஸ், எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸ், அவங்களுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி அந்த டெஃபினிஷன் மாத்திக்கலாம். ஓகே, தே கேன் சேஞ்ச் their definitions accordingly. Okay, they can define their own definitions. They will just inherit the declaration from the abstract class. Okay, they will just inherit the content, the declaration, the function name alone from the abstract class, and they will define their own implementation among themselves. Okay, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு generic class நம்ம base class define பண்ணி வச்சுட்டு, அந்த base classல இருந்து we can derive these kind of derived classes like mobile, fashion, furniture, kitchen, electronics. And the point that you have to understand, I'll just write a set of points for your abstract class. Abstract. Okay, so the first point, abstract class contains abstract methods. Okay, they can have concrete methods also. Concrete methods na, methods which has definition. So abstract methods na, only declaration, no definition. So when I say no definition, it actually means there is no, okay, there is no implementation. Okay, contains abstract methods, only declaration, no definition. This point you have to remember. So why we need abstract class ki, இதுதான் understandable. ப்ராடக்ட் அப்படின்ற டேர்ம் எனக்கு கண்டிப்பா வேணும். ஏன்னா ப்ராடக்ட் மொபைலையும் குறிக்கலாம், ஃபேஷனையும் குறிக்கலாம், ஃபர்னிச்சரையும் குறிக்கலாம், எலக்ட்ரானிக்ஸையும் குறிக்கலாம். ஓகே. ஸோ தட் இஸ் டூ ஜெனரிக். அதனால ப்ராடக்ட்ட நான் ஒரு அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் கிளாஸா டிஃபைன் பண்ணிக்கலாம். பிகாஸ் இட் won't have any specific descriptions about any product. But it will have a collection of method names declared. இப்போ இதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்னா, whatever abstract methods, okay, whatever abstract methods declared in an abstract class needs to be implementedனா defined in their child class. இப்போ நான் ஒரு அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் கிளாஸை இன்ஹெரிட் பண்றேன். இப்போ ப்ராடக்ட்ன்ற இந்த கிளாஸை மொபைல் இன்ஹெரிட் பண்ணலாம், ஃபேஷன் இன்ஹெரிட் பண்ணலாம், ஃபர்னிச்சர், கிச்சன், எலக்ட்ரானிக், இவங்க 5 பேருமே இன்ஹெரிட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அப்ப இவங்க 5 பேருமே ப்ராடக்ட்குள்ள எந்த மெத்தடெல்லாம் அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தடுன்னு நீங்க டிஃபைன் பண்றீங்களோ, டிக்ளேர் பண்றீங்களோ, அந்த மெத்தட் எல்லாத்தையுமே இவங்க இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணணும் in their child class. I hope this is understandable. So for example, product is having a method called as a return policy. Okay. I'm just writing a method called as return policy. ஸோ கண்டிப்பா எல்லா ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கும் ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசி அப்ளை ஆகணும். ஓகே. இஃப் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் ஃபார் எனி ஆன்லைன் பர்ச்சேஸ், ஆல் தி ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் வில் பி அசோசியேட்டட் வித் ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசி. சர்டன் ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசி வில் பி ஃபார் 14 days, 10 days, 5 days. Or some products, for example, if you take products like furniture, they don't have a return policy. No return, no exchange is the concept. Okay. So இந்த ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசிஸ் கண்டிப்பா டிஃபைன் ஆகி இருக்கணும். ஸோ நான் ஜெனரிக்கா ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசி அப்படின்ற ஒரு மெத்தட ப்ராடக்ட்ல டிஃபைன் பண்ணிட்டேனா, அதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்? நீ எத்தனை புது ப்ராடக்ட்ட நீ இன்ட்ரோடியூஸ் பண்ணாலும், அந்த எல்லா ப்ராடக்ட்டுமே கண்டிப்பா இந்த ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசிய டிஃபைன் பண்ணியிருக்கணும். Is it correct? Hope I'm understandable. We are trying to connect it with a real world example. Any product you put into Flipkart, that product obviously needs a return policy. A return policy needs to be defined. Return policy இல்லாம எந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டையுமே உங்களால Flipkart குள்ள லான்ச் பண்ண முடியாது. Just giving you one simple example. So what I can do over here is, if I'm implementing this as a softwareல இது என்ன பண்ணிருப்பாங்க, இப்ப புதுசா ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்ட நீ Flipkart குள்ள if you're going to add into Flipkart, then obviously that product has to inherit, okay, that product needs to inherit this generic class called as product. So within this since generic class is an abstract class, it will be having abstract methods inside it. So those abstract methods need to be implemented by the child class. இப்போ நான் புதுசா ஒரு ஃபேஷன் ப்ராடக்ட்டை வந்து உள்ள Flipkart குள்ள கொண்டு வரேன்னா, அது இந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டை இன்ஹெரிட் பண்ணும்போது கண்டிப்பா ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசியை நான் டிஃபைன் பண்ணணும். டிஃபைன் பண்ணா ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசின்ற ஒரு அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தட் ப்ராடக்ட் குள்ள இருக்கும். அந்த ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசியை நான் சைல்ட் கிளாஸ்க்குள்ள டிஃபைன் பண்ணணும். அதை நான் எக்ஸ்க்ளூட் பண்ணவே முடியாது. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் பீன் what is actually you're trying to understand over here is, whatever you mention as abstract methods within your abstract class, if your abstract class has been inherited by some other class, that some other class must define, okay, that some other class has been termed as your child class, that child class should define all the abstract methods within your generic class. So compulsory அப்படின்னு ஒரு mandatory நீ ஒரு கான்செப்ட் லேர்ன் பண்ணிருக்கோம்ல, அந்த mandatory we can establish over here. Okay, when I say this function should be mandatorily defined within my child class. Okay, if someone is inheriting me, okay, I am the product class. If the product class is inherited by any child class, that child class should define all the abstract methods which are defined inside my product class. So நான் இங்க ஒரு சிம்பிள் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுத்து, இங்க ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசி இருந்துச்சுன்னா, இவங்க அஞ்சு பேருமே ப்ராடக்ட வந்து பேரண்ட் கிளாஸா எடுத்திருந்தாங்கன்னா, they have to define return policy. So now what we have to learn next is, I said product is an abstract class. So how do I define product as an abstract class? What is the syntax to define product as an abstract class? What is the syntax to say that return policy is an abstract method? I have to know that syntax. So when I'm inheriting an abstract class, what is the syntax that I need to follow? Okay, so these are the things that we have to learn next. I hope you can understand this. So third important point மட்டும் சொல்லிடுறேன். Third important point வந்து, abstract class cannot be instantiated. So when I say cannot be instantiated, it actually means you cannot create products, sorry, you cannot create objects for abstract class. So அதாவது ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா சொல்லணும்னா p is equal to product of அப்படின்னு நான் போட்டா it's wrong. Okay, I cannot do it. This is wrong because if I say product is an abstract class, for abstract class, objects cannot be created. So that point is very, very important. So you cannot instantiate an abstract class. So I hope you understood why this abstract class concept was being introduced. So to define a very generic class, okay, and to make things mandatory for the child class, these methods you have to implement. Okay, if you are not implementing, you cannot inherit me. If you are not implementing, you cannot inherit me. That's the concept. Okay, so if you want to inherit me, that is, if you want to become, if you want to launch your product into Flipkart, then obviously you have to define a return policy. If you are not ready to define a return policy, then you cannot launch your product into Flipkart. அப்படி ஒரு கான்செப்ட் எடுத்து நீ இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சனா, that can be made possible only with the help of this abstract class. Okay, so now we will move on with some concepts in presentation whatever I've discussed. So sometimes we want that our class should not be instantiated. So everything whatever I said, everything fits over here. So let me get into the syntax. Okay, so Python doesn't support, does not have any separate or built-in abstract classes over here. So Python, how it's allowing you to implement an abstract class, the first statement is very important over here. Okay, if you want to implement a class to be an abstract class, so Python has an abstract base class called as ABC. Okay, அந்த கிளாஸோட பேரே ஏபிசி தான். பைத்தான்ல இப்படி ஒரு கிளாஸ் இருக்கு, ஏபிசி கிளாஸ். So from ABC class, you people need to import a special class. ABC is a package. Okay, ABC is a package. So from this package, you have to import an inbuilt class called as ABC meta. ஸோ இது வந்து அப்படியே இந்த சின்டாக்ஸ்ல எந்த சேஞ்சும் பண்ணக்கூடாது. ஃப்ரம் ஏபிசி இம்போர்ட் ஏபிசி மெட்டா. இந்த if you're going to define an abstract class, if you're going to define an abstract class, the first statement should be from ABC import ABC meta. Okay, and then this is the important syntax of introducing. Okay, this is one point. Second point is that you have to remember is how do you define an abstract class. So now I want to define product as an abstract class. So to define product as an abstract class, what I have to do is within this product class, okay, I have to mention meta class is equal to ABC meta. Okay, so by which you are making a connectivity with the abstract base class to your newly created abstract class. Okay, so ப்ராடக்ட் கிளாஸ் இதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்னா மெட்டா கிளாஸ் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு ஏபிசி மெட்டா நான் போட்டேன்னா ப்ராடக்ட் கிளாஸ் ஷுட் பிஹேவ் லைக் அன் ஏபிசி கிளாஸ். ஸோ ஏபிசி கிளாஸ் இம்ப்ளைஸ் வாட்? அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் பேஸ் கிளாஸ். ஸோ ப்ராடக்ட் கிளாஸ், இஃப் யூ வாண்ட் டு மேக் product as an abstract class, then this is the syntax that you have to follow. Class product of meta class is equal to abc meta and pota mattumna product will behave like an abstract base class. Okay, and then inside your abstract class you can have your concrete methods as well as abstract methods. So how do I define an abstract method na? Adukku or syntax irukku. Okay, I'll show you that. I'll show that syntax directly. So by declaring a method abstract, all the subclasses must override the abstract method. எப்படி ஒரு method abstract method and define பண்ணுவீங்கன்னா like this. If I want to say return policy to be abstract, okay, I have to put at abstract method. What I have to do? அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு decorative word. We generally term this as a decorative word. You have decorative keyword. This is called a decorative keyword. At abstract method. Okay, this is a decorative keyword that you have to introduce before your abstract method. Okay, so I hope you understood whatever I'm saying. Okay, with respect to abstract class. So what we have to do over here is, so if I want to create an abstract class, first what I have to do, from ABC import ABC meta. Okay. So after this, I have to define my abstract class. So if product is an abstract class, what I have to do? Meta class is equal to ABC meta. இப்படி சொல்லிட்ட பிறகுதான் inside this, if I want to declare an abstract method na, at abstract method, I have to introduce this decorative keyword first, and then I have to mention my def return underscore policy. Okay, I have to, இது ஒரு அப்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தடா சொல்லணும்னா இந்த அப்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தடுக்கு என்ன இருக்கும், வெறும் நேம் மட்டும்தான் இருக்கும். ஓகே, செல்ஃப் and the arguments that you have to pass. So in this case I'm passing only the object. So இதுக்குள்ள implementation இல்லைன்னா இதுக்குள்ள நான் என்ன போடணும்? Implementation நான் வைக்க போறது இல்லைன்னா I have already taught you something called as pass. Okay, so pass implies future code in artham. So no implementation in artham. No implementation available at this time. So you are putting something called as pass over there. Okay, so this makes up return policy as an abstract method. Okay, this makes up because இதுக்கு the first line will define it as an abstract method, and abstract methodனா வெறும் நேம் அதோட இன்புட் ஆர்குமெண்ட்ஸ் மட்டும் தான் மென்ஷன் ஆயிருக்கும், இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் இருக்காது. இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன் இல்லாதனால பாஸ் நம்ம போட்டிருக்கோம். இப்போ எனி கிளாஸ், ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இஃப் there is another class, okay, I have a class called as mobile. So if this class mobile is inheriting, this class mobile is inheriting this product. So what I need to do, I need to obviously define this return policy. So return policy kandipa na define பண்ணியே ஆகணும். So what I have to do inside this return policy, இதுக்குள்ள நான் definition எழுதி ஆகணும். So print 14 days to return. I'm just putting. So இப்படி ஒரு ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசியை நான் வந்து இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணிடணும். ஓகே, ஸோ ரிட்டர்ன் பாலிசியை நான் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணியே ஆகணும். So that's the condition. If you inherit an abstract class, if you inherit an abstract class, then the child class. Satya ma'am, can you mute your audio? Satya ma'am. Satya ma'am, yeah, thank you. So return policy I have now defined. Okay, so this is my abstract method. So within my abstract class, my abstract method doesn't have an implementation. So if I am inheriting my abstract method, then obviously I need to define that abstract மெத்தட்ஸ். இப்போ இதில் நான் ஒரு மெத்தட் தான் காட்டியிருக்கேன். இப்போ ப்ராடக்ட்ன்ற கிளாஸ்க்குள்ள 10 அப்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தட்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா அந்த 10 அப்ட்ராக்ட் மெத்தட்ஸையும் என்னோட சைல்ட் கிளாஸ் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணியே ஆகணும், டெஃபினிஷன் எழுதியே ஆகணும். இல்லைனா இட் வில் த்ரோ an error. Okay, so now I'll just show you an example for that. I have that example. I'll directly move on. I'm going to write it down. So what we did over here is from ABC, I have imported ABC meta comma abstract method. I have to import abstract method also. Okay, and now I'm creating class product meta class. This is how I define an abstract class. So inside this abstract class, I'm having two methods. Okay, so one method is an abstract method. Okay, so here if you see, this method is an abstract method. Why do I say this is an abstract method? Because it starts with at abstract method. Okay, and it doesn't have an implementation. So I call this as an abstract method. And I also have a concrete method inside this. Okay, concrete method na, which has a definition. Abstract class can contain concrete methods also. It's not at all wrong. Okay, so type 1 print the type அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு இது இருந்தா இருக்கலாம், இல்லைனா கண்டிப்பா கான்கிரீட் மெத்தட்ஸ் இருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் கிடையாது. பட் இஃப் யூ டிஃபைன் அ class as an abstract class, it should have an abstract method. So now what I'm going to do over here is I have 3 childs over here. Okay, so all mobile is inheriting product, fashion is inheriting product. Okay, furniture is inheriting product. Everyone are inheriting product, and everyone, if since they have inherited product has one abstract method called as return policy. So all of them have to define this return policy. Okay, so now what I'm doing over here, after defining all the classes, I've created an object for mobile, created an object for fashion, created an object for furniture. So now I'm typing the return policy. So if I put m dot return policy, which method will get invoked? The method of your, for example, just return policy within 14 days. So when I put m dot return policy, which method will get invoked? The method return policy method inside mobile. If I put f dot return policy, the method inside fashion. Fu dot policy method inside furniture will get invoked. So if I execute this, one sec, indentation is not matching. So product can be returned within 14 days. Okay. So first one was what? I had m dot, m is for mobile. Okay. So we invoked m dot return policy. So this policy was being returned 14 days. Okay. So then I told m dot type 1. So type 1 is what? It's a concrete method within your abstract class. Okay. So type 1 is just a concrete method. So எல்லாருமே inherit பண்ணிடுவாங்க. மொபைலும் inherit பண்ணிடுவாங்க, ஃபேஷனும் inherit பண்ணிடுவாங்க, ஃபர்னிச்சரும். இது வந்து ஒரு நார்மல் மெத்தட், அப்டிராக்ட் மெத்தட் கிடையாது. ஸோ இன்ஹெரிட் மட்டும் ஆகியிருக்கும். ஸோ நான் எம் டாட் டைப் ஒன்னு போட்டா பிரிண்ட் தி டைப் அப்படின்றது இங்க பிரிண்ட் ஆயிருக்கும். ஓகே. ஸோ அடுத்தது வந்து I have given f dot return policy. So f dot return policy is for whom? F dot return policy is for furniture, for fashion. So return within 10 days. So furniture ku no return policy. Okay. So with this we finish up with today's class. So if you go through the content, the same stuff will be explained. So thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we finish up with today's class. You can move on with your laboratory session. So this is polymorphism. This is abstract class. Thank you. You can move on with your laboratory session.